The sky above the frozen colony was gray and heavy. Winds screamed across the ruins, blowing dust and snow into the sharp corners of broken buildings. The war had ended months ago, but the scars still remained. This place had once been alive. Now, it was cold, lifeless, and forgotten. Callan, a human scavenger, stepped out of his shuttle. He wore a thick coat and carried a scanner in one hand. His job was simple: search for valuable tech, tag any remaining power sources, and report back. The higher-ups didn't care what had happened here. They believed everyone was either dead or gone. But Callan wasn't so sure. He moved slowly through the colony ruins. Buildings leaned at odd angles. Burned signs in alien script hung loosely from cracked walls. As he walked, he heard the wind howl, and then something else. A soft noise, a sound too light to be the wind. It was like a whimper. Callan paused. He lifted his scanner and turned in a circle. No signal, no movement, just silence. Then, from the corner of his eye, he saw it. Something behind a half-fallen crate near a damaged power core. Carefully, he stepped closer. His boots crunched over frost-covered metal. He reached the crate and pulled it aside. There, curled into a tight ball, was a girl. Not human. She had pale blue-purple skin, bruised. Arms and her clothes were torn and thin. Her small hands trembled as she tried to hide her face. She looked up, eyes wide with fear. Her lips were cracked. She was cold, starving, scared. Callan froze for a second. He knew the rules. He wasn't supposed to bring back survivors, especially alien ones. The war had been bitter. Trust was rare now. But as he looked at her, all he saw was a scared soul trying to survive. No threat, no danger, just someone left behind. Without a word, Callan pulled off his thick thermal blanket and gently wrapped it around her. The girl flinched at first but didn't run. She was too weak to move. "You're okay," he said softly, kneeling beside her. "I've got you." She blinked at him, trying to understand. Her voice was dry, almost too soft to hear. "Don't hurt me." "I won't," Callan promised. "You're safe now." He picked her up carefully. She was light, too light. Her body had no strength left. Her head rested against his chest as he carried her back toward his shuttle. Snow swirled around them. The cold tried to steal what little life she had left, but Callan held her close, sharing his warmth. Inside the shuttle, he laid her on a padded bench and sealed the door. He turned on the heater and found his medical kit. Her eyes stayed on him, the whole time wide and unsure. "I'm Callan," he said, placing a water bottle in her hand. "What's your name?" She didn't answer at first. She was shaking too much, but after a minute she whispered, "Ryla." He smiled gently. "Nice to meet you, Ryla." As the shuttle lifted off, heading back into orbit, Ryla pulled the blanket tighter. Her eyes began to close, not out of fear, but from relief. For the first time in months, she felt something she thought she had lost forever. Safety. Warmth. Hope. She had nothing left in the world. Not a home, not a family, not even a reason to believe someone would help her. But when that human wrapped her in his arms, something changed. He didn't look at her like an enemy. He didn't treat her like a problem. He just helped. And that small act might have saved her life. The shuttle flew quietly through space, leaving the frozen world behind. Inside, Callan kept checking the controls while glancing back at Ryla, who still lay under the thick blanket. Her breathing had steadied, but her body still looked too thin, too fragile. She had fallen asleep from exhaustion, curled like a child. Callan didn't know how long she had been hiding there, but it was clear. She hadn't eaten properly in days, maybe weeks. He pulled out a ration pack and warmed up a protein soup. The smell filled the small shuttle cabin. When Ryla's eyes slowly opened, she blinked at the lights, confused. Then she spotted Callan sitting beside her, holding a steaming cup. "I made you something," he said gently. Ryla sat up slowly. She reached for the cup with trembling fingers. Her hands were small, her nails chipped, her skin rough. But she took the cup and sipped the soup carefully. Callan smiled. "Better?" She nodded once. Then her voice came, weak, but clearer than before. Thank you for not leaving me. I couldn't just walk away, Callan replied. You were freezing. Ryla looked down at the soup, avoiding his eyes. Others did. Callan didn't know what to say. He just sat there beside her, watching her eat like someone who hadn't tasted warmth in a long time. After a while, Ryla asked, Where are we going? Back to my station, Callan replied. It's a small outpost, but safe. No war. No patrols. She looked at him again, her expression soft. You're human, right? Yes. She hesitated. Humans don't help us. Not usually. Callan shrugged. Not all humans are the same, just like not all aliens are enemies. That made Ryla pause. A small smile appeared on her lips, just for a second, then vanished. Callan stood and handed her a clean shirt and jacket from his locker. These might be a little big, but warmer than what you've got. She accepted them slowly. Do I owe you anything? No, he said, shaking his head. You owe me nothing. Just rest. She nodded, but deep inside she felt something strange. It had been so long since anyone gave her something without expecting something in return. It made her feel human, even if she wasn't. Later that day, Callan checked the fuel readings while Ryla sat quietly near the window. She watched the stars pass by, her expression filled with thoughts. Where were you when the fighting started? Callan asked. Ryla's voice turned quiet. In a school shelter. The first bombs hit before we could evacuate. My mother told me to run. I never saw her again. I'm sorry. They left us behind, Ryla continued. The ones with power, the ones with ships. They saved the important people, not us. Her hands clenched the blanket. I didn't even cry anymore, she whispered. Until you came. Callan didn't speak. He walked over and sat beside her. Slowly, carefully, he placed a hand on her shoulder. She didn't pull away. You're not alone now, he said softly. For a moment, neither of them moved. The hum of the shuttle's engines was the only sound. Ryla leaned a little closer, drawn to the warmth of his presence. That night, Ryla tried to sleep again, but bad dreams woke her. She sat up quickly, her breath shaking, her eyes wide with fear. Callan, still awake, came over. It's okay. You're safe here. She looked at him, her voice trembling. Can I sit near you? Without a word, Callan opened his arms. She slowly moved closer and sat beside him, resting against his side. He wrapped the blanket around both of them. His body heat was strong, calming. She felt safe. He didn't ask her to explain. He didn't judge her. He just stayed still and held her until the shaking stopped. As the stars glowed outside the window, Ryla finally closed her eyes in peace. She had nothing before. But tonight, wrapped in a human's warmth, she had something real. Not just heat, but kindness, protection, a reason to believe in hope again. The space station slowly appeared ahead, floating quietly among the stars. It was small, surrounded by old cargo ships and repair drones. A peaceful place, far from war, far from noise. Callan's shuttle glided into the docking bay. Inside, Ryla sat in the co-pilot seat watching nervously through the window. Is this your home? She asked. Kind of, Callan replied. I stay here between missions. Not fancy, but safe. Ryla nodded, but her hands stayed clenched in her lap. She still wore the jacket he gave her, and her eyes kept darting around, alert and cautious. She had lived in fear too long. Safety felt like a trick. As they stepped out of the shuttle, a few workers waved at Callan. He nodded back, but didn't stop to talk. He didn't want anyone asking about Ryla yet. Instead, he guided her to his private room on the lower deck. It was small, just a bed, a table, and a heater, but it was clean. You can rest here, he said, motioning to the bed. I'll sleep in the chair. Ryla looked at the bed, then at him. You don't have to give me your space. I want to, Callan said simply. She sat down slowly, running her hand across the blanket. You're different from others. Callan smiled. I've been told that. Hours passed quietly. Ryla finally allowed herself to relax. But peace didn't last long. That night, she woke from a nightmare, her body shaking. She remembered the bombs, the screams, the people who called, her family traitors. She remembered hiding in the dark, hungry and alone. And she remembered the symbol, the red and black crest worn by those who hunted her. She sat up, breathing fast. Her eyes searched the shadows of the room until she saw Callan, asleep in the chair, arms crossed. Calm, Callan, she whispered. He stirred and opened his eyes. You okay? She nodded, but said nothing. Her voice felt trapped. After a moment, she looked away. There's something you should know. He sat up straighter. Tell me. She took a deep breath. My family. We were accused of helping the rebels. They said we leaked military plans. I don't know if it's true, but after that, we were hunted. Callan listened silently. My father was arrested. My mother told me to run. I escaped through the water tunnels under the city. I didn't even know if she made it out. After that, I just kept hiding. Until you found me. Callan leaned forward. So that's why you were afraid of the patrols. They think I have information, she said. But I don't, I was just a student. You were a survivor, Callan corrected her. And that matters. Ryla looked at him, surprised by his calm voice. You're not afraid they'll come looking for me? Callan shrugged. Let them come. I've faced worse. She shook her head. You don't understand. If they find me here, they might think you're helping the enemy. You are not my enemy. Ryla stared at him. His words felt too kind, too gentle, but real. Why do you care? She asked softly. Because no one should be left alone, he replied. Not you. Not anyone. For the first time, Ryla didn't argue. She didn't pull away. She just nodded. Later that day, Callan checked the station's communication logs and saw something strange. A ship had passed nearby earlier, one marked with a red and black crest. His heart sank. He didn't tell Ryla yet, but he knew what it meant. They were looking. Maybe already tracking his ship. He returned to his room and found Ryla sitting by the window, drawing on a notepad he'd given her. The picture was of stars, and in the center, a small figure wrapped in a large coat. I was trying to draw how I felt, she said, showing it to him. When you found me. Callan looked at the drawing and smiled, even though worry now rested heavy in his chest. Outside, in the quiet of space, danger was getting closer. But inside that room, a fragile bond was growing stronger. She had nothing. Before, no safety, no support, no voice. Now, because of one human, she was starting to believe in life again, even if shadows from the past still followed her. The next morning, Callan stood by the window in the control room, staring at the stars. His mind wasn't calm. The red and black signal from the enemy ship was still on his screen, and it wasn't moving away. It was circling near the station, quiet. Watching. They're here for her, Callan whispered to himself. He turned around and walked quickly back to his room. Inside, Ryla was folding the blanket neatly on the bed. She looked better now. Her color had returned, and her movements were stronger. But when she saw the look on Callan's face, her smile faded. What happened? She asked. Callan didn't lie. They're here. Ryla froze. The soldiers? He nodded. Their ship was spotted just outside the station. They haven't docked, but I don't think they're here for trade. Her hands shook. They know I'm alive. Callan walked over and held her shoulders gently. Listen, I have a plan. There's a crawl space under the storage deck. Old smugglers used it. It's not on any station map. You'll be safe there. You're going to hide me? I have to. They'll scan the rooms if they find you here. Ryla pulled away, tears forming in her eyes. They'll punish you for helping me. I don't care. But I said I don't care, Callan repeated. You matter more than their threats. She stared at him, heart pounding. The fear she had been running from for so long had found her again, but this time she wasn't alone. He led her down to the old storage deck. The air was dusty. Boxes were stacked in every corner. Callan found a hidden panel and opened it, revealing a dark space just big enough for her to crawl inside. There's a vent here for air. I'll bring you food once it's safe, he said. Ryla crawled in slowly, hugging her knees. Don't let them take you. I won't, he said. Stay quiet, no matter what happens. He closed the panel and stood up. His face hardened. He wasn't just a scavenger today. He was her protector. Minutes later, 2 uniformed officers arrived at the station. Their clothes bore the red and black crest. They had calm voices, but their eyes searched like hunters. Routine check, one of them said. We've tracked illegal signals near this area. Callan stayed calm. You won't find anything here, just old tech and empty rooms. We'll see. They searched the rooms one by one. When they reached Callan's room, one soldier stepped inside and looked around. He picked up the jacket Ryla had worn and raised an eyebrow. Whose is this? He asked. Callan replied without blinking. Mine. Got it from a trade deal. The soldier looked at him, clearly not convinced. But he didn't press further. After a full hour, they left the station. No answers, no proof, just suspicion. As soon as the shuttle doors closed, Callan rushed back to the storage deck. He opened the panel and Ryla blinked against the light. They're gone, he whispered. She crawled out slowly. Her body was stiff, but her face was filled with relief. She reached up and hugged Callan without thinking. You could have been taken, she said, but I wasn't. And they didn't find you. That's what matters. Ryla pulled back and looked into his eyes. Why are you doing this for me? I'm not even human. Callan smiled gently. You don't have to be human to be worth saving. Ryla lowered her head. I've never meant anything to anyone before. Well, you do now. In that moment, something changed inside her. The fear didn't leave completely, but it was no longer stronger than her hope. She realized that even with danger outside, she wasn't alone anymore. That night, they sat, side by side in silence. Callan didn't speak much. Neither did she. But words weren't needed. The human had risked everything to keep her safe. And in the dark corner of space, that meant more than she could ever say. The next day, the space station returned to its usual calm. But Callan couldn't relax. He sat at the control desk, tapping his fingers on the edge. His thoughts kept circling the same idea. They had found them once. They could come back. He turned to look at Ryla, who was still in his room. She sat near the heater reading a digital book he had downloaded for her. Her face was quiet, but he could see the worry behind her eyes. She had been through too much. She deserved more than hiding. Callan made a decision. When he walked back into the room, Ryla looked up. Something's wrong? No, Callan said. But I've been thinking. This station isn't safe anymore. They'll return. Next time they might bring more ships. Ryla lowered her eyes. Then maybe I should leave. You'll be safer if I'm not here. Callan sat beside her. I won't let you go alone. You wouldn't survive out there by yourself. You know that. She said nothing. There's a place. I know, Callan continued. It's a neutral zone. They don't ask questions. We could go there, start over. Ryla's eyes widened. Start over? You mean together? Yes, he said. I won't leave you behind. Her voice was soft. Why? He looked into her eyes. Because you matter to me now. I don't care if the galaxy sees you as a problem. I see you as someone worth saving. Someone who's still standing, even after everything. Ryla looked away quickly. She didn't want him to see the tears forming in her eyes. But in her heart, a quiet warmth began to grow. Not from safety, not from food or shelter, But from him, he didn't just protect her. He believed in her. Within hours, Callan prepared the shuttle. He packed supplies, checked the flight path, and shut down his room. Before leaving, he handed Ryla a new coat, clean, soft, and strong. "Try this," he said with a smile. She held it in her hands for a moment before slipping it on. It fit better than the last one. "Thank you." As they left the station, Ryla looked out the window. She didn't feel fear this time. She felt curious. Nervous, yes, but not hopeless. "Where is this neutral zone?" she asked. "A planet called Vedra 4, Callan answered. "It's quiet, mix of species, traders, travelers, no empire, no war." Ryla nodded slowly. "Sounds peaceful. I think you'll like it." As they traveled through hyperspace, they shared stories. Callan spoke about his life as a scavenger, how he'd traveled from system to system, always alone. Ryla told him about her childhood, the school she once attended, the way her mother used to sing during the storms. It was the first time she laughed since they met. Just a small, soft laugh, but it was real. Later, they sat side by side, staring at the stars. Ryla turned her head. "You never asked me what I want." Callan raised an eyebrow. "What do you want?" She paused. Then she whispered, "I want a home. Not just a place, but something real. I want to wake up without fear." Callan nodded. "Then that's what we'll find." Just as the shuttle neared Vedra 4's system, the warning lights blinked. A large ship had entered their flight path. Callan looked at the screen. His heart dropped. "It's them," he said quietly. Ryla stood beside him. Her voice didn't shake this time. "They followed us." Callan's hands moved quickly over the controls. "We can't outrun them." "What will you do?" He looked at her and smiled. "We'll fight smart." The enemy ship locked onto them. Alarms echoed through the small cabin. Callan activated old stealth tech hidden beneath the shuttle. A black cloud released behind them, cutting off tracking. Then, using an asteroid field nearby, he dove between rocks and shadows. "Hold on," he shouted. Ryla grabbed the seat tightly as the shuttle spun between space debris. Behind them, the enemy fired, but the blasts missed, hitting rocks instead. With one final turn, Callan pushed the engines to max power and shot through a narrow pass. The enemy couldn't follow without risking a crash. Then silence. The enemy ship faded from radar. They had escaped. Breathing hard, Callan looked back at her. "Still want to come with me?" Ryla smiled, despite the fear. Now more than ever. The shuttle flew smoothly now, but both Callan and Ryla were silent. The stars outside looked calm, but they both knew danger had not fully passed. Ryla sat near the control panel, staring at the dark space behind them. "Do you think they'll return?" Callan didn't look at her. His eyes were focused on the flight path. "Yes, if they followed us once, they can do it again." "But why?" "I'm just one person." "Maybe," Callan said. "But maybe to them, you're something more. A message, a threat. Or maybe they just don't like the idea of losing control." She clenched her hands. "I don't want you to suffer because of me." Callan turned and faced her. "I made my choice, Ryla. I'd rather stand with you than live running forever." Suddenly, the warning alarm went off again. The red and black ship had returned. Faster this time and closer. "They must have marked our engine trail," Callan muttered. "They want us captured." Ryla stepped forward. "What can we do?" "We're too far from Vedra 4, Callan said. "We won't make it before they reach us." She looked around the ship, eyes sharp now, not fearful. "Do we have any weapons?" "Not many, but we have an old pulse cannon and defense shields. I can make it work." She stared at the screen. The enemy ship was getting closer. Then she looked at him. "Let me help." Callan was surprised. "You know ship systems?" "My brother taught me. Before everything." He nodded. "All right. You handle the shields. I'll take the weapons. They moved quickly. For the first time, they worked as a team. Two survivors side by side, no longer hiding. As the enemy ship approached, they fired a warning shot. The shuttle shook. Shields up, Callan shouted. Ryla activated the panel. Shields holding. Barely. Callan returned fire. A bright pulse burst from the shuttle and struck the enemy's lower wing. Sparks flew from their hull, but the ship kept coming. They're boarding us, Ryla yelled. No, Callan growled. Not today. He pressed a button on the control panel, releasing old scrap pieces from the shuttle's rear storage. The sharp debris floated around their ship like a barrier. The enemy ship tried to push through, but the metal chunks slammed against it. Callan fired again, this time a direct hit to their engine. The red and black ship shook violently. A small explosion lit up its side. They're retreating, Ryla said in shock. They're scared, Callan said. They didn't expect us to fight back. But just before disappearing from view, the enemy sent a final blast. It hit the shuttle hard. Sparks flew. Callan was thrown to the side. He hit the wall and didn't move. Callan, Ryla screamed. She rushed to his side. Blood trickled from his forehead. His eyes opened slowly. I'm okay, he whispered. Just a hit. Ryla helped him sit up. You saved us. We saved us. The shuttle was damaged, but still flying. Ryla took the controls while Callan rested. Soon, the planet Vedra 4 appeared ahead, a green and golden world, peaceful and untouched by war. As they entered the planet's orbit, Ryla looked at him. You risked your life again. For me. He gave her a tired smile. You're worth it. She didn't say anything. Instead, she leaned forward and pressed her forehead gently against his. It was a silent thank you, deep and real. I won't leave your side, she whispered. Not now. Not ever. Callan nodded. Then let's find a new beginning. As the shuttle descended toward Vedra 4, the light of the sun touched their ship. The past was behind them now, burning in space. Ahead, a new life waited, together. The shuttle landed on Vedra 4 just before sunset. Golden light spilled across the ground, warming the hills and trees. The planet felt alive, quiet, peaceful, and untouched by war. Ryla stepped out first, her feet pressing into soft soil. She breathed in deeply, letting the fresh air fill her lungs. Callan followed behind her, moving slowly. His head was still bandaged from the hit he took during the last fight, but his eyes were steady. When he looked at Ryla standing in the light, he smiled. This place is beautiful, she whispered. It's yours now, Callan said. Ours if you want. They walked together toward a small town not far from the landing zone. It wasn't much, just a group of homes built into hillsides, a few shops and quiet roads. The people there were different. Mixed species, soft voices, calm lives. No soldiers. No patrols, no war. A kind woman named Mira greeted them at the entrance. She had gray hair, forearms, and a warm smile. She looked at Callan, then at Ryla. You both look like you've traveled far, she said. We have, Callan replied. Mira nodded. You're welcome here. No one asks questions on Vedra 4. We only care that you're respectful and honest. Ryla felt tears rise in her eyes. This was the first time someone welcomed her without suspicion or fear. They were given a small home near the edge of the forest, just 2 rooms, a kitchen, and a garden. Simple, but peaceful. That night, Ryla sat on the wooden porch looking up at the stars. She thought about everything, the war, the cold, the pain, the fear, and then the human who found her. Callan stepped outside and sat beside her. Are you okay? She nodded. I just never thought I'd feel this again. Safe. Alive. He leaned back. You deserve it. I had nothing, Callan. I was lost. He turned to her. You're not lost anymore. She looked at him. Truly looked at him. In his tired eyes, she saw strength. In his smile, she saw peace. And in his actions, his choices, she saw love. Ryla placed her hand over his. You didn't just save me from dying. You saved me from disappearing. They sat in silence for a while. The wind moved softly through the trees. Somewhere nearby, a night creature sang. It didn't sound like fear. It sounded like home. In the days that followed, they began a new life. Ryla helped in the local garden, learning to plant and harvest. She made friends, real ones, for the first time in years. People didn't stare at her skin or whisper behind her back. They just smiled and listened. Callan repaired old machines for the town. He built tools, fixed generators, and even helped a young boy make a wind-powered fan. He laughed more than he had in years. They shared meals, laughter, quiet walks under the stars. Each night they returned to their little home, and Ryla curled up beside Callan without fear. One evening, after a long day of helping build water pipes, Ryla placed a small handmade stone on the porch. It had carvings on it in her native language. Callan looked at it and asked, "What does it say?" Ryla smiled. "It means found." He tilted his head. "Found?" She nodded. "I was lost. Alone. Forgotten. But then, you wrapped me in your arms. And in that moment I wasn't nothing anymore. I was someone again. I was found." Callan gently reached for her hand and squeezed it. "And I found something too, Ryla. I didn't even know I was missing it until I met you." They sat there as the sky turned orange and pink. No more running. No more hiding. The girl who once had nothing now had warmth, peace, and someone who would never let her go. And the human who once traveled the stars alone had finally found where he belonged. Together, they had built something real. Something worth everything.